I remember I would eat a whole sponge cake as a snack. You don't tell me. You don't tell me where I have to go with my child, what I have to do, what I have to wear, what rules I have in my house, what time I need to be home. Nobody tells me nothing.
I love that. I love that.
Breaking the rules is not privilege. It is mental strength. Everyone was like, "You're crazy." I was like, maybe I am.
Hi, we're breaking the rules. And what rules are we breaking? That women come last. Simrun Chopra, welcome to Rule Breaker.
Thank you for having me.
What rules did Simrun break?
Nearly all. Nearly all the checklists that have been thrown my way. I'm sure every woman has faced it. We call it a checklist, you call it shackles, but there's an expectation that is there from each one of us, especially in our country, whether it is, you get your degree, find a nice boy, get married, have a child, then ideally have a second child, buy a house, buy a car. That checklist is endless, and at one point you're expected to give over your life to the well-being of your children, to just nurture them and help them grow. And I think I've broken through nearly all of them, doing them sort of at my own pace, at my own will, sort of in my own way. There's always a struggle when you want to clash with old set beliefs, I think. Whether it's that or just being the rules that are set on us every single day, the expectations people have, right? About you have to spend this much time with your child, appear with them with every class, or you cannot dress like this when you're 40, you can't wear like, a crop top, or you can't change careers and, start learning a new profession fresh at, let's say, 32 or something, which I did, because how could you possibly succeed? Right? The checklist is sort of endless, the rules are endless, and the more you heed to them, the more you shackle yourself.
So let's go back in time. 3 days without food, at a time when one can literally call ourselves urban poor. Why? What happened?
My family was going through a really tough time. I had a very tiny allowance. I remember it was 1,000 rupees a month. In 1,000 rupees, I would have to pay for commute, food, my mobile bills, absolutely anything and everything I needed. It just wasn't enough. So I was really, really careful with my money, and somewhere in the back of my mind, I was also saving up in case, because I had this innate need that I would not, and at that in college, you're just dependent on your parents and you want to ask them for money. And even then, I knew that it wasn't the rule that I would follow. I would do it differently. And that 1,000 rupees, I would save more than half of it, more than half, which means I had 500 to work with. You don't get much food in that. And most days I would survive on maybe one idli because it was $5, or maybe two in a day because at that time it was 5 rupees an idli, and that's what I would do because I wasn't going to add more pressure to my parents. And I know the rules are that, you depend on your parents in your college and they will fund it, but no, why? And I had seen my mother when we were in our tough times go, when she hadn't been working, and then one day she got up and said, I'm going to do something about it. And then with what little she had, this woman joined this company that goes door to door, home to home, selling books for children. And she really put herself out there, and that sort of stayed with me. And in those moments when I didn't have it, I was like, if she could do this, I'll find a way. I don't know how, but I will find a way. And a little bakery opened near our office, and I walked in there, no money to buy anything, and the owner was there, and I asked him, do you need someone to help because you're in the store? And he was like, yeah, I'll pay you 25 rupees an hour. I was like, okay, college is at 3, I can be at 3:30.
Yeah.
And I would go there every day. I would do anything they told me. So by the end of, I think, 1.5 months, I had learned the ropes that they were leaving the store to me. I went from just helping around to managing the store, eventually becoming like store manager while I was still in college. And I think sometimes when you're willing to look outside those roles and you're willing to step outside, new things will open up.
Yeah, I really like that. The keenness to be able to draw outside the lines and find your own way. It's not easy. But
No.
for example, you said your mom went door to door. Yeah. It could have had the reverse impact. Like, oh, I'm never going to land up in a situation that she has. But instead, you turn that into, if she can do it, I can do it too, right? What did that change that day for you?
I think what she changed in me was that irrespective of how shitty things get, you can create your own path. She that time had not been working for like 15 plus years. She didn't finish college. There was no way for her to get a job. And that woman got up and said, I don't care what the rules are and I can't get a job. I will do whatever I can.
Yeah.
And that's what taught me that no matter how shitty things get, no matter what people tell you, you can do whatever it is. And at that point, back then, 20 years ago, in India, even now, kids don't work part-time in college, right? And I would work. I would literally finish college at 3, be there at 3:30, work till 9:30, go back to hostel where they would shut the door. Morning, go to college, go to work, college. I had no time to...
I did the same, I did the same.
No
like I had 2
to,
jobs in the middle.
And sit in a cafe. No. I was like, and then it became a drug. I will do this. And then my next drug was, I will pay for my own education. I want to work. Whatever I want to do, I will do it myself. Because I figured out really quickly that you can make the choice. You make the rules. Nobody makes the rules.
Do you think that this choice is not there today? I mean, or are we as people just spoiling our kids in the next generation in a way that's not okay?
No, I think the problem today is what I like to call comfort crisis. We are too happy being comfortable in a way that any mild discomfort is a problem. We've gone from having to walk to go get stuff at a supermarket to getting it in 15 minutes. Right? And if it doesn't come in 15 minutes, it comes in 20, you're like, oh my God, it's late. Come on. Like this level of comfort that we expect now, I mean, in our generation, if you wanted to like meet a new guy, where would you even meet them? You can't swipe left, swipe right, oh, this didn't work. I mean, what do you mean it didn't work? You have to try and make it work, no? So I think the problem is comfort crisis.
Okay, so you have to make it work. But why? Why should one have to make it work? That's the genesis of compromise, no?
No, it's because everybody wants. It's what you need that you work for. You want to be successful, you want to lose weight, you want to do things, but you're not willing to do the things that need to be done for it. And that means stepping outside. If I want to lose weight and I'm 35 and everybody's telling, oh, you can't go to the gym, you have to stand up and say, no, I can. Why not? Why can't a woman lift weights?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that, right? People have to be willing to say, I do not abide by these archaic rules set by me. It's time to break them. I mean, we've broken so many of them, right? I mean, sati was something that people did. How come that was okay to break? Because somewhere common sense prevailed and said, no, this does not make sense. This rule should break. So you have to, there are so many around us. If you don't use common sense to see which ones are holding you back, you're going nowhere.
Hey, so you know, when you were, you did an MBA and you had potential jobs at places like Infosys, Wipro and others, that at that time was common sense. Hey, you have this, take it. Why didn't you take them?
I knew very quickly that it was not something I would excel at. So I did this BCA, which is computer application, because it was the in thing to be a software engineer, right? At the end of my 3rd year, after my practicals, I was like, there is no way, I'm not built to sit in front of a system and code and look at lines of code and look for that one comma that's missing. That's not me. It will hold me back. And when the placements happened, I didn't even appear for those because I knew that it would stifle me. I would not grow. And everyone in my class, including my teachers, thought I was insane. But you know why? Your parents make such a difference. Every time I've had an issue, I think, if my mother did it, I will take this risk. So I went and I kept working at that store, that bakery. And in the beginning, I was earning much less than these girls. But very quickly, I was head of department, head of 3 departments, earned enough to pay for my own MBA because I took that risk. I was willing to break that rule because what is breaking rules? It's about taking a risk without support. And you have to be willing to put that effort in to make it work.
Why would you say risk with support is not breaking the rule?
Is it really a risk then, if you are supported? It's not really a risk because you're something to fall back on. If you have a net to fall in, you're not scared of that jump. It is when you are jumping free fall that you will do every single thing to survive. If I know there's a net, someone will catch me, right?
So, you know, after your journey, you switched gears again, you did this MBA, you went abroad, you paid for yourself. Now you come back. And then we only know you as this star nutritionist. What was this whole MBA all about? Where did it take you?
I did the MBA because I was in that retail segment and I wanted to grow. I wanted to do luxury marketing. And I came back and I got a job in Madura Garments at the Collective. I worked there and it was sort of my dream job. And that's when shit hit the roof with my pregnancies, miscarriages, multiple miscarriages, and it was so fast, it was so stressful that I stopped. I had my baby after very traumatic time. I was also very old by then. Post my delivery, it got worse. Everything, I had postpartum depression. I had a very stifled life. I was dealing with overeating, binge eating, maybe an eating disorder as well, because I remember I would eat a whole sponge cake as a snack. The me today, nobody would believe that, right? But it became this turning point where I said, again, at one point I was like, I need to fix this. I don't know how, but I'm going to fix it. And I sat around fixing that, and then I was like, I love this. And I told my husband, you know, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to become a nutritionist. And I told everyone, and they were like, are you mad? Like, you're 32. Are you going to start studying again, people do like a BSc when they're 18. You're going to start studying at 32. You'll be starting at the bottom of the rung at 32. Everybody's like way ahead of you. Every auntie gives advice on nutrition. This is a saturated market. How can you possibly rise? Because at this point, I had the MBA, I had great experience in marketing. I could get any marketing job I wanted. By now, I'd be probably a CMO at a really large company. And that risk, at that point, the smart or the logical thing to do was to continue on my marketing career and grow that.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I will start afresh. And every single person told me, this is a big mistake. It's too saturated, you're going nowhere with this. And I was like, no, there are no rules to this. You're telling me, I was like, okay, you're saying I have to rise to become like the top 10 in India, the top 3, I'll do it. And everyone was like, you're crazy. I was like, maybe I am. So I started from scratch at 32, what people do at 18.
So I hear a really fiercely independent woman. Was it about, I want to make my own money, making my money is sexy, and it's my thing?
That's not where it starts. Everybody wants to be independent. For me, it was, I want to make my own rules. You will not tell me what I can or cannot do. And if that means that I get that freedom by being independent and financially independent by making money, that's what I'm going to do. Because eventually I want to do what I want to do. You don't tell me. You don't tell me where I have to go with my child, what I have to do, what I have to wear, what rules I have in my house, what time I need to be home. Nobody tells me nothing. They are my rules. I make them. Nobody sets them for me. I will not be shackled. And if the way to do that is to be completely strong, financially independent, that you can tell anybody ever, I'm going to do it. I will never ask. I never want to be in a situation where I ask someone, can I buy that? Do you think you can pay for that? I want to go on this holiday or whatever it is. Do you think it's okay if I wear this? No, this is who I am. You take it or you leave it. If you leave it, I can manage. And if managing that means I have to be independent, I have to earn all my money, support my parents, I will do it.
Is breaking rules a privilege? Would you say that?
No, I don't think so. It is hard. It can break you, but it is not a privilege because I was not born with money. I came from nothing to having not been have food to eat. To give you an example, I remember I went for my brother's wedding and my mother was stunned because I'm 5'7" and I was 51 kilos. I was bones. I had not eaten in 2 days. I had eaten 2 toasts or something in 2 days because I couldn't afford much. Breaking the rules is not privilege. It is mental strength. That's what it is. So say that I will do this. It's drive.
Yeah. You started the thought around nutrition because of your own issues. You were what? You talked about eating a whole cake as a snack.
Yeah.
And then you talk about how you went from XL to where you are today. What was that personal pivot that kind of got you there?
I collapsed one day when I dropped my 3-year-old child, a 3-month-old child onto the bed, and I couldn't get up. Couldn't move. I spent the next 4 weeks crawling around because they couldn't give me muscle relaxants, they couldn't give me specific painkillers because I was exclusively feeding him. It kept happening to me to the point that I could not go for a movie, I could not go for dinner, I couldn't do anything. I also had endometriosis, postpartum depression, I had cervical spondylitis, I have a degenerative disc, a bulge disc, I have vertigo, I can go on. I mean, I like, you know, when they think that you're a nutritionist and you're all healthy, no, I did all this because I was in a shit space. And I was like, if this is where I'm at 30, I can't achieve any of my dream goals if I can't walk at 40.
Yeah.
Right? And that's sort of where I started out. And it wasn't to start as a nutritionist, it was to fix health. how do I fix this? Because that's what I've been all my life. I don't care. My doctor tells me you're degenerated this. Okay, then what? You know,
give me a solution.
Yeah, so I think that in life, every time someone has told me this is the problem, I've not been like, okay, you set the rules for me, that's fine. No. My father was told that he had lost his arm. He was electrocuted and every single thing in his right arm burnt and disintegrated. There was only skin holding it together. And for 6 months, he would sit at home and it would be tied to the chair. And my parents went door to doctor to doctor, and everyone said you have to amputate it. And then there was this, after 6 months, there was this one doctor who said, no, I can fix it, it will take time. And while that was a terrible time in our lives because he was not working, my parents finished all their savings, surgery, he has a completely working arm. In fact, it's stronger now than it's ever been, because my parents, my grandparents have always been people who have just not abided by status quo. And that is what they taught me. So whether it is nutrition, it was changing health, everything has taught me that. Even when I did nutrition, for example, I was told, you know, diet plans are made a certain way. You give a meal plan, you tell people what to eat. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. They were like, you can't change that. I said, I will. So I built the first sort of flexible eating model, which now everybody has copied, even like the big giants. But the thing is that for me, if you tell me, the way to get me to do something is if you tell me, no, Simran, you can't do it.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So Simran, you know, as a nutritionist, okay, and as a woman, let me ask you this. Why don't women know what to ask about their health? They just don't seem to know their bodies. They don't know their vagina. They don't know their breasts. They don't know what they need to eat. They don't know what to go and ask the doctor. You think they actually just so shy and they just make zero effort to learn about themselves?
No, I think it's threefold. The first is our generation was not educated about this in school. Let's start it now. The second is a social taboo around it in terms of talking about these things. Even the doctors aren't very open to talking about something like sexual health, or for example, if you went in and said that you have low libido, they're not going to be able to talk to you about this really. The third is where we have been told how women should be perceived today, in terms of you have a certain set of roles, right? Women take care of the house, women they do the cooking, women take care of the baby, right? All these things have been put in place in a way that we are not first. Your family comes first.
Yeah.
Your child comes first, you are last. My rule is the complete opposite. You come first, because let's say you care, everybody loves their child, but my rule is the fruit can only be as healthy as the tree.
Yeah. And a happy, healthy mom makes happy, healthy children.
Exactly. And if you don't learn how to ask these questions, we are not given the liberty to do so. That's where it is. And people don't even realize that they can or they should do it. And that is the idea of spreading this, right?
Yeah.
To say that you come first as well and break those rules.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. When a woman comes up to you, what are the 3 questions she should ask you?
How do I become what I want to become? Which could be anything, right? How can you help me get there? And I think the third one would be, no.
Give me the meal plan.
No, I don't think so. For me, it's never been about the meal plan. Fitness is not about the meal plan. Health is not about your weight. It is about your self-belief and self-confidence. That is what fitness is about.
So I love this. It sounds like a quotable quote that I would see on a reel on Instagram. But why am I not convinced? Because I want to lose weight, like every other woman in this world, right? And this is why, I mean, I'm just amazed at how women's health actually comes down to 2 things: having a baby and losing weight. Is there anything between that spectrum that women really care about? And why not?
Because we've been taught not to care about ourselves. It's okay if you don't look good, as long as your child is okay. It's okay if you're not feeling great. Why do you have to feel great after you've had a child? Why do you need to wear certain clothes? Why do you need to feel great? Why not? It's society that has built this, and nobody wants to question it. And when you do question it, when people like me do question it, when people like me at 40 are dressed in a certain way or portraying in a way, I mean, I've had instances of being ostracized across circles because of who I've become, or of having men sit around tables talking about me or how I dress. Not that I find anything controversial in what I do, but clearly it doesn't fit their norm. And for a lot of people, it is threatening because it is also a portrait of what their women can become.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of an independent revolt, where you are no longer the yes, 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 yes. Where you're like, tell me why. Because that is a very dangerous person to become. Because when you can say, tell me why, and I will decide whether I do it or not, you become something to contend with.
Yeah. Well, those who are storming the norm are on this show. My last question to you, when you look back at your life, what were the rules that you didn't break? And why are you regretful of them now?
Rules I didn't break. You have to give me a second to think.
Yeah, take your time.
I can't think. It has been in me to break everything. I don't take anything at face value, and people hate me for it, whether it's politics, whether it's religion, anything. My first thing is to ask why or to criticize. I was like, everything is up for questions. So it's a very hard one for me. There isn't, I don't think there's one that I regret, because every single decision has brought me to what I am today. And if I change any of that, I wouldn't be here today. So I don't think, I think I heard from a friend recently, and she said, you take those decisions and you live with the results, even if they're terrible. So if they were bad, but I'm still here. I'm okay.
Yeah, they do say that. I think Mark Twain said this. First get your facts and then you can do whatever you want with them. But I guess, yeah, I hear what you mean. Yeah. Okay. Just one other question before we let you go. You went from wanting to be Miss India to playing basketball and having to give all of that up. Is giving up in life part of breaking the rules?
It's not giving up, I think. It's understanding where you're going, where you want to be. At one point, I got in, I was supposed to go for Miss India. I was playing state. I had a terrible accident, lost all the skin on my face. I have like 30, 40 stitches on my face. Each time, it's not about giving up. It's about looking at it and saying, this is what has been, these are the cards dealt to me, or these are the rules. How do I break them? How do I find a different way? What's the rule I will make for myself? So for me, it's very simple. Every time something doesn't go my way, which is often, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like, what do I do here? What's the new rule I can make here? Irrespective what it is. What I do today, I'm swarmed by competition. Everybody asks me this, what about competition in this industry? There's competition in every industry. And if you're going to let it pull you down, and if you're going to play by the rules, you will get nowhere. As a small player, as a woman entrepreneur, I cannot play by the rules, because if I did, I don't have the giant funding, I haven't got it, I don't have like crores lying around. I have to play by my own rules so that other people are catching up, and I'm not doing the catch up. So it's not about giving up. It's about literally creating your own rules, creating your own path. That's it. Break those shackles. And as long as you let them hold you, you're going nowhere. Literally.
Simrun Chopra, wonderful having you with us.
Thank you so much.
You're watching Rule Breaker. Join me next with another special guest where we talk about things they don't talk about. Breaking the rules and sticking by their decisions. Why, when, and how.